notes a little bit, so I have to take notes of this story in the order that it went because it is so nuts. Hey guys, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would do a story time and tell you about how I almost got stranded in a different state, and I was so distraught about it I thought we would smoke. So I need to paint a little backstory first. So I was supposed to be going to Ohio for a training for my job, and in order to do that I had to fly into Detroit and go all the way down to Ohio, which is really not far. It's about an hour drive. So I accidentally booked the trip one day too long and ended up needing to, anyway, I needed to move the trip one day earlier so I could get back for my flight on time. So I called the week before my trip and say, hey, I need to, move my return date up. I booked too long and just need that day refunded. I contacted the rental car company because they said on the Expedia website, you can't make adjustments to your reservation on the Expedia website. You had to call the rental car company and do it all over the phone. So I do that, I call them, and the lady on the phone says, oh, you booked it through Expedia, you have to do it through Expedia. And I was like, dude, I literally can't, it says to call you. And she said, well, you're gonna have to contact Expedia, we can't do anything. And I was like, girl, this is—
Huh? What?
This is your own, I'm calling you directly, you can't directly change my reservation, what is that? And she says, yeah, you have to call them. I said, okay, fine, whatever. So I'm contacting Expedia. They are telling me we're trying to get them on the phone, they're not answering. Let me see if I can call you back in a little bit after they respond. So they give me a call and she says, that will be it, not a problem. You could just return it one day early, not a problem. I said, can I get a refund? And she said, yes. I said, great, cool. Anyway, fast forward a week and then it's my actual flight. I get to Detroit just fine, and when I land, it is cold as fuck. I am coming from Dallas. It is 80 degrees, it's sunny, it's spring, it's about to be summer damn near. And then it's fucking just literally cold as hell, freezing ice. And I am just in a sweatsuit, hoodie, literally chilling, freezing. And then I get on the little shuttle bus to the rental car company. Get there and had a good little ride. I was feeling really good about this trip. I was really excited. I already picked out the spot I wanted to go eat for lunch, and the guy that's driving the bus, he's singing gospel music. I don't even know what the hell he was singing, but he sounded good. So I was feeling nice. And I think it's a rental car company. And I wish I never did. I wish I read a review or something of this company before I booked, because count your days. So I go up to the counter and the lady says, can I have your ID and a credit card? I said, yes. And she ran my account, found it, and she was like, oh, hey, you got a complimentary upgrade. You're getting a Kia Soul. I said, what? I booked a mid-size to small SUV. Kia Soul is a compact car. Do you have something else? And she was like, I'll see what I can do. What's wrong with the Kia Soul? I said, girl, it's a Kia Soul. Anyway, then she's like, we'll see what I can do. So she runs my credit card and she's like, this is declined.
Insufficient funds, you ain't got no money.
I said, well, how much are you running it for? I already paid you on Expedia and I bought the insurance. What are you talking about? And she was like, well, this is for our personal liability insurance or something like that. It's for fuel, whatever. And I was like, well, why didn't I get a notification of this? She said, yeah, it's at the very bottom of your confirmation email. I said, oh, great. The part that literally nobody reads.
So perhaps you have simply forgot what you signed. Oh, honestly, did you not read the colony policy?
I don't know, stupid. So I'm like, let me go see if I can fix my credit card. I leave the line and call my husband, just give him an update, tell him what's going on. And I'm paying my card off to use it. And I noticed that your limit goes up just a little bit if you pay it off. Well, I thought it was going to cover it and it didn't quite cover it. So I made another payment onto my credit card and that would have taken care of it, but the limit didn't increase anymore from that point on. And I was like, maybe I can call my bank and see if they can release this second payment and I could use my card. Well, I get on the phone, telling them what's happening. I'm sounding a little bit upset because it didn't increase. And then she says, let me see if I can get this escalated. And it goes up 3 or 4 times. I'm trying to get them to understand this is a very dire situation. I need to get to another state and I don't know anyone here. I'm alone. I'm a girl alone in a state that I'm not. Hello, safety. And then she's like, let me see what I can do. I said, fantastic. She says, oh, actually, we can't release your payment because you had an issue back in August 2024. I said, lady, it's April 2025. Like, you can't just help me out for real? And she's like, no, but we can increase your credit limit. I said, okay, like, how's that gonna take? And is it gonna work instantly? She said, well, it's usually instant and it kind of how much you want to increase your credit limit, whatever. I tell her, and she runs my information, and she said, we can increase you by $100. I said, what do you mean $100? And so anyway, hang up with her. I'm a little annoyed. So I hang up the phone, call my husband back, tell him, and I refresh my app and I see it goes up $100. And then I notice I'm $2 short from the amount that they need at the counter. $2. So then I call my husband back. Oh, actually I'm on the phone with him when I see this. I'm like, oh my God, like the dog. Right when I'm getting like a wind, I'm, about my story and telling it shortly, she got a bark. Lay down. I gotta do this right now because I'm losing really good sun. Anyway, okay. So I'm on the phone with my husband when I'm looking at my app and I see that it's $2 short. And I'm like, dude, what the hell, what am I gonna do? Like, my visit for 4 days, I can't just get back on a flight right now and then like miss on this training my company has paid for, and then I'm just like freaking out. All right, so my husband says, hey, you can use a debit card if you want to, other option. I said, okay, cool. I put all my stuff in my bag again and I go back up to the counter, give her my ID and my debit card this time, and then I write down my social security number because she needs that for the second part of this little, I guess, their policy, the way they do it, which is very weird to me because what, like, my credit has to do with anything? I'm not buying your car, I'm just driving it for 3 days. Like, what are you talking about? Anyway, so I write down my social security number and she runs my card. We're cool. She runs my social security number. You're denied. What? Thanks. I heard you wrong. Denied? Yeah, that bitch denied me in front of all of these people. And then I start crying. And I'm like, lady, I don't know what to do. She denied me. I said, girl, what do you mean denied? Like, it's happening right now. Like, what do you mean? I can't get this car right now. And I said, well, what did the credit report say? And she said, I can't see. I don't know. It just says denied. I said, thank you so much for being so helpful. What am I supposed to do? I said, what am I supposed to do? And she looks at me dead in the eyes and she said, you could always get a U-Haul truck. I said, don't kick me while I am down. Why would you tell me to get a U-Haul truck? I will snatch the hat off your head. Are you
I said, bitch, get the fuck out my face. Why?
kidding me? But because I'm a respectful person, I just start crying in front of her because I don't know what else to do. And she said, don't cry. Like, bitch, what do you mean don't cry? I'm alone. I'm not supposed to be in this state for very much longer. And I have no means of transportation. I guess I could get an Uber, but I don't want to spend the extra money. Like, I didn't even want to spend the extra money on you. What do you mean? I paid for everything already. So then I grab all my things. I'm huffing, I'm walking out, stomping, and I get outside and I throw my bags on the wall. I'm calling Brayden. I'm crying. I'm just so upset and mad and just, oh my God, I didn't know what to do. I was completely freaking out. Yeah, I'm just at a loss. I slide down the wall, crying into my hands, hoodie up. I look like a homeless guy. And then I look up and it's snowing. It's snowing. I'm freezing, I'm stranded, I have no means of transportation, I am hungry, I am tired, I just got off a flight, like, I want to go eat lunch and go to my hotel, and I can't. Anyway, then I call an Uber. Uber guy was nice. He took me all the way from Detroit to Ohio, and that was definitely over $100 for an Uber trip. So the Uber takes me to my hotel. Immediately I'm emailing media and like trying to get someone to help me out, and you know, I said, hey, this is what happened. You know, I would like a refund. I wasn't able to pick up my car. And they were like, you're not eligible for a refund because this is your policy. I said, what are you talking about? I got the insurance on this trip. And then we go back and forth. Nothing is resolved. Yeah, like whatever. I will worry about it when I get home. It's not gonna be that big of a deal. I just need to make sure it's done before I get reimbursed from my job. Cool. I get home, and immediately the next day I have started to email Expedia. I have consulted ChatGPT. I was like, hey girl, please read this. Tell me what you think and give me something to say. And ChatGPT provided. So I sent them the email and they came back to me again. Hey, sorry, you're denied. I said, okay, great, chat. Another response, and I get an email back that said, hey, we're going to call you. So I said, okay, cool, meet Sunday. They called me on Sunday at the most inconvenient time, 7:30 by the way. What? And they were like, hey, what happened? Tell me everything from start to finish. I said, how many times have I emailed you this? Did you not even read the email chain, or was I just talking to a bot the whole time? And so I'm explaining, he escalates me. He says, hey, what's happened? He escalates me to the next guy. He said, hey, so what seems to be going on? I said, did that guy not just tell you anything? So I explained to him the whole story again. And he said, I'm gonna have to put you on hold for a long time. And I was like, how long is a long time? He said, I don't know, it's gonna be a long time. Puts me on hold for 25 minutes. On a Sunday, 7:30. By this time it's 8 o'clock. Are you kidding me? So he comes back after a long-awaited hold, and the other guy, so his boss, I got escalated another 3 or 4 times. He answers the phone. He's like, hey, so what's going on? I said, he didn't tell you either. What do you mean? And then he was like, let me review. So he was reviewing. He put me on a little pause, and he said, okay, I see that, you know, the rental car company is not being very transparent about what has happened. Like, they are not being responsive or want to take any kind of corrective action for this issue. Go ahead and refund you your trip. I said, thank you.
Money up by myself, but a big deal.
What about my insurance? And he's like, let me put you on a quick hold. How many freaking holds? How many holds? That one was like 15. And then he comes back and he said, yes, we'll refund you your insurance too.
Money up by myself.
I said, thank you. We hung up, and then I realized I should have just like asked for that trip. Anyway, we hung up and I got my money back. I did get all my money back, but like still, it's the worst customer service I ever experienced in my whole life.